Hey there guys, I'm just hanging out in the kitchen today. I'm going to be making some elderberry jam. I thought we could make some jam. I'm going to do some scrolls and we could just have a chat. Someone to keep me company while I'm at home or by myself with these kids at school. So I've been out and I've collected elderberries. This is over a couple of days and I'm just measuring them. I've got 800 grams, so I need a few more. I've had these ones here in the freezer and I've just kind of put some water in there to help defrost them a bit quicker, and that's worked well. With elderberries, please do your own research, but from what I know is every part of the elderberry is poisonous until it's cooked. So the stems are always poisonous, unripe berries are always poisonous no matter if they're cooked or not. But the elderberries themselves are safe for eating once they're cooked for a reasonable amount of time. So I'm going to be making jam today with these. So I've been out and I bought some jam making sugar. And you don't need jam making sugar, but I like to have it because it just makes the whole process very easy. And I think every other time I make some kind of jam-like thing, I always end up having to go and buy one of those sachets that has pectin in it. So it is a bit more expensive. It was $6.25 today to buy the jam making sugar, and the berries are free. So I guess it depends how many jars you get out of it. I'm just going through here and having a look at getting some of the stalks out, because the stalks are poisonous, whether they're cooked or not. I've made this before and I'm sure a couple won't kill me, but I don't want to tempt fate either, so I'm trying to be as careful as I can. So I'm just going to make this up to 1 kg. Oh, I might have got just enough. Oh my goodness, what are the chances? That was exactly 1 kg what I had. I've got rid of a few because they were a bit gross, but for the most part they were pretty good. So we're coming into autumn in New Zealand in a couple of weeks, and that is the best time for collecting elderberries. We have this as part of our kind of seasonal rhythm. We go and get elderflowers in December and make elderflower fizz. You can make a really lovely cordial. And to me, it just tastes like summer. I absolutely love it. We have the fizz on Christmas Day. It's kind of like our little treat drink. But having made it ourselves, it feels kind of special as well. So it's a good start to us. So I'm just going to grab the sugar. I haven't got my jars ready or anything. I don't have a canner. How I've always preserved anything or made jams is just by giving the jars a really good wash in hot soapy water and then putting them in the oven at 120 for 10 minutes and boiling the lids in a pot of water. And touch wood, there has been no botulism in our family. So there are definitely cheaper ways to make your jam than buying this more expensive sugar. But I think this will come out at, I should get at least 3 decent sized jars. This says it makes 4 to 5 medium jars. I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not. We'll see. So there's the jam sugar, and this is how easy it is. You just basically get the fruit, place fruit and the sugar in a large pot. This is just a normal pot from my cupboard. I do have a big preserving pan, but it's really huge, you know, like it's this big, and I'm not making that much, but I think that's necessary. Once this kind of melts a bit, and I don't need to put this in the food processor. I just get the potato masher once it's all warmed up and just kind of give it a bit of a mash, but it looks so nice. Look at that. Let's move that in there. That's my chana dal that I have ready for dinner tonight. I go to a night class tonight, so I have to be really onto it with cooking dinner before the kids get home, so that I'm not just stuck in the kitchen, you know, cooking dinner, that I'm actually there to spend time with them and find out how their day is. And my daughter on her way out the door this morning already said, "Mum, will you play some games with me when we get home?" So got some card games and some board games that we like to play. The good thing I like about this jam, and I never like to waste like fruit that I've grown. Like I would have to have so many apricots before I wasted them making jam. I would rather just eat those. For me, I make jams and jellies out of things that just grow everywhere that are really easy to get. So elderberries, blackberry jam I make, although lots of the blackberries that we normally go foraging have kind of this year because people have developed those sections. We live in an urban area and there are lots of places that have just been left to go to rack and ruin after the Christchurch earthquakes. And on those sections, a lot of blackberries grew and no one was spraying them or anything. So we went and foraged there for our blackberries. This year, though, I can see that there's been a lot of development and a lot of those places have got houses on them now. Houses plural, not like the one house that used to be there. It'd be, you know, where there was one house, there will now be 4 or 5 townhouses. There we go. So that's easy. I'm just going to turn that right down because I haven't done my jars, but I have got them ready. Hang on a sec. So I just stopped that camera there for a second because I realised with this jam making sugar, it's really not going to take very long. With the, if you're making it just with normal sugar, you know, you could be here, I don't know, for an hour or so waiting for it to thicken. So that's looking really good. I'm going to need a little bit of butter. So they say just a knob, so that's what I'm using. It's 1:45, so I also need to organise some scrolls. I wanted to make some pizza scrolls for the kids' afternoon tea and for lunches tomorrow. So I found the salami at the supermarket and it was down from $3.55 to $2.29. It only had a day on it, so it says used by the 15th of the 2nd, but it's been in the freezer for the last, I don't even know what the date is today, the last week or so. So I want to use that today to make some scrolls. Okay, so the recipe I'm going to use for that is multitasking, you see. The recipe I'm going to use needs some yogurt, it needs some self-raising flour, it needs some cheese, it needs some kind of sauce. I've got some tomato paste, so that's going to be fine for me. And then that's kind of mean this should only take 10 minutes with a bit of luck. And by that time, my jars will be ready and then I can kind of amp this up a little bit and get it done. Crikey, this is real life in the kitchen, isn't it? It's not all laid out nice. It's not anything fancy or special. It's just actually how it is, doing some baking for the kids at the end of the day. So let's get this cheese in. Some of my herbs. This is just straight from the garden. It's a bit of pizza thyme. A bit of, I don't know what kind of thyme it is, but it's another kind of thyme. And some oregano. So I am no chef, so please don't judge me if you're looking at me thinking, gosh, you're awkward when you do that, or, you know, what are you thinking, blah, blah, blah. Don't worry about it. Everyone gets fed, but it's never pretty. I always end up in the kitchen whenever I'm baking something, which is every day. people say to me, oh, you must really love baking. And do you know what? I actually don't. Like, the kitchen is not my favourite place to be in at all. But it's a place I kind of need to be in. Like, if I want to provide healthy food for my family, it's actually me who has to do that. My husband's at work 4 days a week and I'm not, so it makes complete sense that I'm the person who is creating things in the kitchen. But it's just, you know, it's not my favourite thing. If I don't know, someone lived with me and they were like, hey, I just want to do all the cooking, all the baking, and it's all going to be the same kind of stuff that you would make, it's all healthy and delicious, well, great, I would not argue with them. I am a bit of a minimalist in the kitchen. I don't like having, well, I'm a bit of a minimalist all around, not like in the white kind of bare shelf sort of a way, but I don't really like having lots of crap around the house. I don't like having more than one thing or more than what I need. So for the most part, all I need is one bowl. So that's what I have. This is a second-hand bowl. I think I might have got this from my dad's house. He certainly has more than, you know, one of everything, that's for sure. Give that a stir. It's actually just melting. I'll need to crush it in a second. So I need 1 cup. I only have a half measuring cup though free, so I'm just going to use that. And that's of self-raising flour. So 1 cup of self-raising flour. It was 3/4 of a cup of yogurt, which I don't have. What I kind of have is just the leftover yogurt that I was going to use as a starter. I'm just going to use what I have. I do have another yogurt pack mix, which means I just have to use that to get the next lot of yogurt sorted and started. So that is not 3/4, that's just really only just a half. So I'm just going to top that up with milk. So if I give that a bit of a whiz over, I better get those lids on the go. I'm going to roll them in self-raising flour as well. So I have my little teeny tiny rolling pin. This is from years ago when my kids were little and they went to play centre. They used to have these really great sales and I bought these little rolling pins for the kids. Gosh, I don't even know how old they would have been. Little, we've had them for years and years and years. And I have just used these since. I've never used anything else. They are actually a little bit hard to use sometimes. I've probably put too much flour out there. So I don't have any bread that I have to make today because I made that yesterday, and with my husband being away, we just haven't been going through it as quickly. Be careful not to put any flour on that from my hands. So I need to get this done quickly so I can clean up. Okie doke. Let's do it. Just want to save a little bit of that for the top. This, on the other hand, I know the kids will just love having something that is very salami-ish. Also, you want to make sure you do it right to the edges, eh? It's nothing worse than eating these kind of things and you get to the end and you're like, oh, I've got the yuck. You know, no one wants the end because it's missing all the good ingredients. I don't eat any meat, so this won't be for me this afternoon. How easy is that, eh? Bit messy there. Six, seven. Cool. Now I do always forget which side goes down. I think it's cut side down. But like there is an actual, or maybe cut side up. Let me do half and half because I really can't remember. And then that way. I won't get it wrong. Yeah, hopefully they turn out okay. Let's not worry about it. I'm back onto this. I'm going to add my knob of butter. And then I bring to a rolling boil for 4 minutes. So what that means for me is I've got 4 minutes to tidy this all up so that I can get on to doing this. Give it a bit of a stir. You don't want burnt jam this late in the game and then you've wrecked it. There's no coming back, is there? Okay, I've only got a couple of minutes left before this is going to be ready. Let's turn it up a bit higher. The lids are done. These have been in for 10 minutes. The jars have been in for 10 minutes. So I'm just bringing this to the boil. And that only needs to be done for 4 minutes. That is going to be a pain to clean up, isn't it? That will do for now. It's had somewhat of a clean. That tea towel will never be the same again though. So look how nice that looks. So I don't know how you guys test your jam, how I do it. And I mean this is guaranteed to work because it's special jam sugar. Is do this. Put my finger through it, and if it stays then it's ready. Trying our best to keep as clean as possible. This is not a sterile situation obviously because you're in my home, but the lids are clean, the jars are clean, so they're sterilised. My hands I'm going to wash with soapy water. The only other thing that's going to touch anything is these. This is how I'm going to pick up the jars. And then I'm going to put them here on top of a clean chopping board. And then I'm just going to pour straight into the jars. To sterilise these, I'm just going to pour the hot water that the lids have been in over the big silver spoon as well, just in case I have to ladle any into the jars. Okay, so it's important that everything is hot. The jars are hot and this is hot when it goes in so the jars don't break. So let's have a go. Is going to have jam in. I can't do it perfectly because, you know, it's not a commercial kitchen, all that kind of jazz. And so far everything I've done in the past has worked out fine, so I'm just saying this because it's on YouTube, and I don't want someone to follow what I do without doing their own research and then have it all turn. If you don't know about elderberries, in European folklore, the elder mother lived in the trunk of the elder tree and provided protection. So when European settlers came to New Zealand, you can see that they've planted a lot of elder trees, often right by their front door. Is that going to fit? Oh, maybe that's not the right one. There we go. So I'm just taking care not to put my hands on that. Now we'll know if these have worked. This is going to make a huge mess of my tea towels, but that's okay. So I go like this, and then I'm going to put them over here on a rack upside down. When it's sealed, it will pop, the lid will pop. Oh, I could hear something then. I hope that's not a crack. Oh, I think it is. Yeah, that cracked, and that's because I've put that on the berries below. You'll laugh, I don't actually even have a tripod for this camera. So what I have is a selfie stick that my daughter got, oh, blow, I'm just making a real mess here. A selfie stick that my daughter won when we were away on a cruise one time, and she's kept it for years. You know, this was years ago. She's just kept it, and I've had it in the pile for the second-hand shop for a long time, because I really don't encourage the kids to do things like take selfies, because I think it's a bit silly. But here I am. So I have the selfie stick with my iPod, which I'm using as the camera. And then to hold it up, I have got a glass jar with a tea towel stuffed in it to stabilize it. So there you go. Oops. Okay, that one there. I've spilt so much of this that I'm going to have to tip some of this in here, because it has to overflow for this method to work. And this one here, so this will now be my non-sterile jar, and this is what I'll put out for our breakfast, because I will scoop up everything that's here so that I can still use it. I don't want to waste anything. And here you can see all along the edge here, that glass is cracked, so that's no good now. Yum. I just love the little berry, like I just love the way it looks when you put that on your toast. It will be so yum. It's really not as sweet as, you know, like if you had a strawberry jam or something. But like I was saying before, I don't want to waste fruit that's kind of harder to grow. There we go. So I've got 3 jars, almost 4 jars. That one there is still fine. It's just, I won't put that in the cupboard to preserve it because it needs to be completely full of jam. And whilst it will be full of jam, it will be jam that I've scraped up with the chopping board, which is not ideal. You might be looking at this thinking, oh, you're so gross. I just look at this and think it's a clean board and I don't want to waste any of this deliciousness. I made scones, we could have had this jam on it. We've got some cream as well. Yeah, I give that the thumbs up. I hope that was useful. So a kg of jam making sugar, a kg of fruit. Don't know if I said that at the beginning. Now I just want to eat the jam. I've probably been doing this for about 25 minutes all up. So total cost is $6.25, and that's 3 good sized jars, or really let's call it 4. So what would that be in the supermarket? I don't know, because I don't buy jam, but cheap jam I think is probably around maybe $2.50 or $3. So for this we could say it's $12. So we've saved ourselves 50% of a bought price, plus we've got a better product. So the elderberry has lots and lots of medicinal properties, and it's really good for you, especially in winter. So have a look at that if you're interested in keeping yourself healthy. Elderberries could be for you. So that's fresh out of the oven, and that's afternoon tea sorted. One more thing left to do this afternoon in the kitchen, and that is get organised for dinner. So I'm going to be making a curry. I'm going to sit down, have a glass of water, and then I'll be back and we'll get on with that. Hey YouTube, I'm back. I've had my little break, and now I'm getting ready for dinner. So I've got afternoon tea sorted. I've got some jams done for the cupboard. That'll take me to about 53 preserves, I think. So my aim is to get to 100, and I still have all of autumn. So I'm feeling like as long as I just plug away at that, it's going to work out. Now I'm going to make just a really easy chana and pea curry. So it's nothing fancy, but this is a good meal, I think, for nights when we need to be out the door quick. So I have a language lesson tonight, and the kids are going to have to come with me because my husband's not home, and it goes till quite late. So I want to be able to relax with them when they get home from school and sit down and hear all about their day. I don't want to be having to cook dinner and quickly feeding them before we get out the door. So I'm just going to start with the rice. I'll tell you what I'm doing as I go, and then if you want to make this, you can. I always do 1.5 cups of rice. If you checked out my pantry stock take video, you'll know we've got, more than 20 kgs of rice. It's not the rice that actually everyone likes. I accidentally ordered the wrong one, but when you order 25 kgs, you just have to live with that. I'm not going to waste that by not eating it, so we just have to make our way through that. But honestly, it might take us all year. So 1.5 cups of rice, and then I do 3 cups of water. So I'm just going to leave that to boil, and then once it's boiled, I turn it off. Okie doke, so I've got some oil in here. I'm going to cut an onion up. I've tried to be more like a cooking show this time round with all my bits right here. Okay, so that was 1 onion. I've got 2 cloves of garlic to be minced. This is garlic from last season. This is just the very last of it that I'm using up before we move on to this season's garlic. We love garlic though, so I'm not going to put in just 2, I'm going to put in a few. That is a little bit fiddly. So then I've got a tablespoon of fresh ginger. It does also call for 1 chilli, which I don't have. Okay, so that rice is boiling now, so I'm going to turn that off, and that will just continue to cook in its boiling water. 2 tablespoons of garam masala. So I don't have a tablespoon, I only have a dessert spoon, so I'm just going to use a dessert spoon. A teaspoon of turmeric. A bit of salt, a bit of pepper. It doesn't call for curry powder, but I like curry powder, so I'm going to put in, this is extra hot. It's about a teaspoon's worth. And then it asks me for 2 cups of diced tomatoes. I could just use a tin of tomatoes, but we've got thousands of cherry tomatoes at the moment. So in all their glory, I'm just going to cut up a couple of cups of these and use that. Oh yeah, that's probably only going to be 1 cup. My camera's going to run out of space very soon, so I guess if I don't get to the end of this, I would like to thank you for watching. It's been nice to have some company this afternoon while I cook tea, get some afternoon snacks sorted, and get a bit organised for winter with the preserves. Don't know if you saw, because the camera ran out, but these are my other cherry tomatoes. These aren't actually from my garden. These ones here are from my neighbour's greenhouse. He has generously been coming around every few days with buckets of them. Oops, just dropped one. Buckets of them to all the neighbours, so it's really nice. I had nothing to share back apart from potatoes, which he also has, so he didn't want those. I did spend a bit of time in the garden yesterday and was making a bit of space because I need to get crops in for winter. And I didn't have anywhere, and there was quite a few things in the garden that were just really not thriving. Even courgettes, which you normally are giving away by the bucket load. I've had just half a dozen courgettes this year, and they've all been pretty average. So I just pulled those plants out. There's no point flogging a dead horse, so to speak. Like, just move on with it. Yum, that curry's starting to warm up. Smells good. Okay, that'll do, I reckon. I'm a terrible one for eating as I go. Okay, so I'm going to put in my tomatoes. Then I have to go out and try and find some, this might end up needing coconut milk, I don't know. I like it, I'd rather it be thick than watery, the kids won't like to eat it if it's watery. And I just go through with a fork like this, it can, and it's because of the kind of rice I've bought, but it can go a bit gluggy. So I do need to kind of turn on the element and just heat it up and make sure that all the moisture is kind of gone from inside it, so it doesn't end up like a big of rice. It is more like individual strands. I'm not going to worry about that. I'm going to do a quick tidy up. It's 2:30, so I've got half an hour before school finishes. And I might even get in 5 minutes to read my book. So thanks so much for watching, guys. Leave me your comments below if you've got a nice afternoon tea, an easy dinner that you'd like to do on nights when you're going to be busy. I'd love to hear about it. Otherwise, thanks for keeping me company. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. Really appreciate that. Otherwise, I'll see you next time. Bye for now.